This section is all about configuring your Optimus. If you've looked through the previous videos, you know that there's a menu system on the Optimus where you can actually change some of the settings. I also said that you may not need to change the settings too often once you've got them right, or even as they come out the factory. For most purposes, the settings are correct. But this does give you an option to change those configuration settings. So the option we're going to click on is Configure, and that will bring up a small box. And in that box, we can change a whole host of things. You can see the current date and time on the top there. If you hover next to it, it gives you the option, first of all, to set the time in the Optimus to the time on your PC. So you can change the clock within the menu system on the Optimus. You can do it while it's connected to NoiseTools. And if you've looked at the video on the DB Active app, you can actually set the clock in the Optimus from your phone. So there's a few different options there for setting the time. It tells you when this instrument was last recalibrated, and that means when it was last calibrated in the factory, which is only quite recently in this case. And you're allowed to give it a name, so you can call it, in my case, Craig's Optimus or something like that. In here on this first page, you can change the language of the instrument, you can change the date and time format, you can change the screen brightness, you can have a screensaver on it, etc, etc. So there's quite a few things you can alter. You can enable or disable voice tag recording, which is that function where when you start a measurement, it allows you to record up to 30 seconds of your voice in order to identify that measurement later on. Here is where you can set or unset pause. So a lot of meters you just have start and then stop, but you could have start and then you could have the option to pause and then stop. And this is where you could enable the pause. There's also a back erase time on this as well, which is a feature where if you did pause something, you can erase up to so many seconds from the measurement. So somebody comes up to you and starts shouting, you can pause it, take out the shout, so it doesn't interfere with your measurement. So it's quite an interesting feature. So there's quite a few things you can change on here. Anytime you do make a change in the configuration, just make sure you click Save to Instrument down the bottom, because clicking Save to Instrument saves those settings back to the instrument. If you forget to click that, all the changes that you've made will not be saved. Let's look through some of the other tabs. Integrating. This is where it does some calculations, primarily for occupational noise. It's usually set to EU or UK, but you may want to set it to OSHA or MSHA, which are the various configurations for different parts of the world, or customize it. Be very careful when you change that, because you might get some levels and some values that you're not expecting. Storage. This is where you can change the time history rate on the Optimus Plus. So you can set it, usually it's left at 1 second, but if you look at the options, you can record data up to 1/100th of a second. So you might be wanting to capture a sound that happens very, very quickly. And in this case, you can do that by setting the time history rate to be a lot faster. Obviously, the faster the time history rate, the more data it's going to take up on your Optimus, so it'll fill it up quicker. And then we have measurement timers. And these are things where, depending on the Optimus that you've got, you can have either no timer set, where you're manually pressing start and manually pressing stop. You could have a single timer, where you can say, if I press start, I want it to automatically stop after, in this case, 2 minutes. So you don't have to be there to stop it. You can make each measurement, for example, the same length. Or you can have a repeat timer, which are on the Optimus environmental meters. And the repeat timer allows you to set it in a number of different ways, so that it actually starts and stops, then immediately starts and stops again. So if I'd left it at 2 minutes, every 2 minutes it's taken a measurement, then it carries on for another 2 minutes, then another. It just carries on. So if you're doing longer term environmental measurements, you probably set that to maybe an hour or 15 minutes, and that's the repeat time is very, very useful for capturing sections of data over a long period of time. Again, in this section, the storage tab in the configuration, you can actually clear the memory. So yes, you can do it on the menu system on the Optimus, but there's a clear memory button here, so you can clear out all of those old measurements on your Optimus Plus. Just remember, you cannot clear individual measurements from the memory. You have to clear, it's all or nothing. You have to clear everything or you clear nothing. Audio. Now, the audio is available with the Optimus Plus environmental meters, not the industrial. And the audio means that you could manually record the sounds, the sound itself, as well as the decibel levels internally in the meter. So you can do that by just clicking the audio button on the Optimus when you've started a measurement. But you can also do that automatically. And in this section here, in the audio section, this is where you can choose the quality of the audio that you want to store. So we have 3 different qualities of audio: standard, high and studio. The higher the level of the quality of the audio, the more capacity it takes up in the meter. And sometimes you may want a higher quality of audio, so you can maybe post-process that audio file in another package, and that enables you to do that. We've got a maximum audio duration. So you can say if somebody presses the audio button or it automatically starts recording audio, you don't want it to record forever, you can set a limit on how big each individual audio file is. So there's some options there for you to choose. And then we have audio triggers. And this will be the subject of a video all on its own. But basically the audio triggers enable you to automatically record audio when a certain set of conditions apply. And just to show you what one of those trigger sessions look like, you've got a little box like this, which enables you to have various rules. You can and or them together. You can have the rule based on individual broadband noise levels or individual frequencies, so you can make it quite a sophisticated trigger, and this is where you set these up. The sophisticated trigger side of this is only able to be created within NoiseTools in the configuration option and then saved back to the instrument. When it gets too complicated, it has to be done in here. But as I say, you can achieve quite some sophisticated things just getting these audio triggers right. Next tab, LNs. So these are statistical levels. There's a standard set which comes with the Optimus Plus environmental meter, LN1, 5, 10, 50, 90, etc. If you want some very specific ones that aren't in our list, you can create them yourself and add them in to the system. That's what that section's for. And then we have advanced. And this is where you can, if you're using this in an outdoor kit case, you can configure that. If you have tonal noise detection on your meter, you can configure that in a slightly different way. And there's various other options for different outputs that you can get for the meter, which is where you can set them up in here. And the last one I want to mention on this page is what's called the partition editor, and that's where the modern Optimus Plus meters have quite a bit of memory, either 4 gigabytes or 8 gigabytes. There's a lot of capacity in there, but it might be that you have a case where you want more audio and less data, or more data and less audio, and you can actually partition the memory so that you can get more audio if you want it, or more data, and this allows you to do it, and it's a very simple process. So lots and lots of options here. And finally, the last tab is communications. You can use your Optimus Plus meters, environmental meter, with one of our outdoor noise measurement kits with a modem, so you can actually connect to it remotely, and this just helps you set that up with the modem. So there's a lot of settings in there. Most of the time those settings will never be changed, but it's just to show you that if you need to alter the settings in the Optimus, this is a very easy way of doing it through NoiseTools. And remember, if you want to save anything, changes you've made, please click Save to Instrument, and then all of those settings will be downloaded into the Optimus Plus. One other thing I'll mention before I finish this particular section, If you've got a number of people using your Optimus in different ways and you don't want to have to go in there and change all the settings every time, then there's a way of actually saving these settings to a file and then storing that file on your PC. So all you have to do then is, you want to use it in, say, occupational mode, you can load the settings file from your PC and then download it to your instrument, or save what you've just set to a file and use that every time. So if people are using it in different ways, there's a very easy way of importing those settings and saving them back to the instrument, so you don't have to go through each page and set it just the way you want it. But I will say that most people that are using the Optimuses, once they've got it set up, and even just out of the box, they very rarely need to change those unless they've got some very specific requirements. And in all cases, if anybody's concerned about setting it up or triggers or anything like that, always give Cirrus a call. We've got a very good support desk and we can help you with any of these issues at any time.